So this is Adam Picot from Sheffield University, who has designed a grammar training e-learning module called Grammar Guru. So I'll let you, Adam, explain how the ARCS model fits in with your design.
Thank you, Lillian. So yes, you should all have access to a link so that you can try out Grammar Guru yourselves. So it would be great if you could do that before you listen to this so that you have a real context for what I'm going to discuss. So if you haven't done that yet, just give the video a pause and go find the link and have a go and enjoy. Okay, so ARCS is a model of motivational design which was designed by Keller, and it has 4 components: attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. And these are the 4 key areas he designated as being key to building motivation to learn. And he feels that motivation is the key driver in getting learners to engage with content. Now, Grammar Guru, because it's a grammar trainer, I wanted to try to make it as fun as possible. Students never engage with grammar, and the international students that we teach, we found it very difficult to get them to engage with grammar teaching. So I decided to build this and make it as fun and interactive as possible. Now, I was introduced to the ARCS model very recently and was really pleased to find that many of the principles here match really quite nicely with what I tried to do with Guru. So I'll go through some of the key ones that match up here and explain what is and isn't included. So starting with attention, it basically matches up with all of these, but I'll just focus on a couple of the key ones. So there's a little bit of humor to sort of get the attention focused on the activity with the choice of characters. As you can see from the entry screen, you've got these kind of humorish, cartoony characters that they can choose from. So that brings the attention to the activity, and it's really full of active participation. So learners have lots of interaction with loads of different question types, and it's fully interactive all of the way through. Moving to relevance. So this is how you show the learner that what they're about to learn or have learned is directly relevant to what they need to do now or in the future. So Guru, again, matches up with pretty much all of these, but in particular, there's a lot of choice in Guru. So as you can see from the screenshot at the top, this Guru activity has 6 stages, but students have the choice to navigate those entirely as they wish. So they can do them in any order, they can do as few as they want, or all of them if they wish. And we encourage them to do all of them, but they have the choice. And I also tried to, implicitly, students know that it's useful to them, because as we teach them, they understand that grammar is integral to the quality of their writing, and as teachers we always give them feedback on improving their grammar, and so this directly links to their learning. Now, the one thing which isn't quite integrated into Guru from the relevance category is the needs matching. So assessing learners to get a better understanding of their learning. Now, I really want this to be the next improvement to Guru. And I would like to integrate a short sort of question series at the beginning to check how much they already know about the grammar point, so that then their learning can be very much tailored to what they know or don't know, rather than currently where they just get all of the stages and they can choose how to do them. So thankfully, by reviewing this model, I was able to identify that as the next thing to do. Confidence is the next one. Significant amount of research has shown that confidence level and success in the learning process are directly related. So confidence is built through these categories, as you can see, by making the learning requirements very clear, by providing feedback and giving the opportunity for learners to be successful with lots of different experiences and giving the learners control. So Guru does all of this. It's standardized because it is built as an activity which cannot change without sort of back-end development. So it's standardized in that sense. There is a training video at the beginning which shows learners what to do. There are also training slides which learners can access. If you look at the screenshot, they can access the sort of lesson slides at different points to help them remember what they learned, and so that weaker students don't feel like it's impossible to get through it. And they also have control over the learning, as I explained before. The final category is satisfaction. So motivation and satisfaction are directly linked, and really Guru was built to do this, to provide learners satisfaction in the learning process, to allow the learning of grammar to be as fun as possible. Although I'm sure it's still not really, really fun, but perhaps more fun than using a grammar textbook. So the praise and reward is done throughout. They get lots of positive feedback for getting questions correct. One thing I'd like to say here is that with the praise and reward, according to the model, it's suggested that positive reinforcement isn't done at predictable intervals all of the time. And it is done like that in Guru. And I'm not quite sure how to address that, but I think it's something worth considering for my future development of the course. And really the most important one is intrinsic enjoyment of the learning experience, which I tried to do by integrating lots of different question types and making it aesthetically pleasing and having this sort of guru character that they can choose to guide them through the process. Basically that's been my biggest motivation throughout this process of designing it. That in a nutshell, that's how the model matches up to Guru. Please, Lillian, over to you.
Yeah, so Adam, thanks very much for that. I just wondered if you had any thoughts about how this model could be a way forward in terms of designing new, you mentioned how you would kind of improve this particular design, but if you had your time again, would having the model there at the very beginning, would that have influenced you in some way, or made some things easier?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. I'm not sure it would have made things easier necessarily, because it wouldn't have really reduced the work. But I think being able to review this model prior to starting, I would have been able to integrate all of the different components at the start. And there were the couple that I highlighted that I'd like to integrate in now, but I definitely would have taken those into consideration beforehand. And I think it would have given me a nice framework, so that rather than using my intuition, which worked out fine, I would have been able to sort of design it with more confidence, I think, had I known the model previously. And actually, I think for anyone designing learning activities, especially quite big things, I think this model is really useful, and I strongly recommend that anyone doing this kind of thing uses it as a sort of benchmark and yardstick against what they're doing, because I really feel that so much research has gone into this model, so much scholarship, and it really holds. I've only looked at it for a few hours, but I can see how much research has gone into it, and I really feel that it's useful, more than useful.
And proof of the pudding, what do the students think?
Yes, of course, yeah, because it's all well and good me saying that it's good, but yes, students. Well, we do have close to 100 responses from students doing the activities, and the first question they were asked is how much they enjoyed it, and you'll see here that we have some really nice responses there. there's always a few outliers. I suppose that those are the exceptions that prove the rule. So a few didn't like it at all, but the majority liked it, either kind of liked it or up to extremely enjoyable. And you know, at the bottom here, we asked whether they'd like to do more. So 82% said yes, and I think for a grammar training module, I think that's quite positive. So yeah, I think it's been fairly successful, especially considering what we previously had, which was a textbook which students didn't engage with at all.
Okay, and clearly, I mean, it looks like it's quite design heavy in a sense. You've used graphics, you've had to have quite a lot of, like you say, choice, and things like that for the students, which means there's a lot of, if I'm not sure if I'm using the right word, but a little bit of redundancy, if you like, um, to add that kind of range and depth to the resource. So relative to the student's experience, then, do you think, if you were doing a cost benefit analysis, what would you say are the real benefits of using this approach for your design?
Well, I mean, in the sense of using sort of storyline and building a really rich interactive
Yeah.
activity, well, that's a good question. I mean, it's taken me an awful long time to get to this stage. I mean, hundreds of hours,
Mm.
and it's really a labor of love. So if you're excited about a project and you have the institutional support for it, then go and do it. I would strongly recommend doing it and use this model to help you. Um, but if it sounds like something that is not for you, then I wouldn't start on the project, because it's likely to be a little too much.
Mm. And do you think it would have been possible to do something, if I use the word glossy, what you've done here is really nicely glossy. Do you think there would have been, it's possible to do something similar that's less glossy? Do you think it would lose some of its effectiveness if it was less glossy?
Mm. Um, yes, I think it would lose some of its effectiveness, because I think now with apps, with language learning apps, for example, would be a good comparison. But if you use Duolingo or apps like that, then they have this glossiness, or this sort of design designed look, and I think that helps learners engage with the content. So I think it's worth investing time thinking about the glossiness or the design. Um, but I don't think worrying about it too much is worthwhile either. I mean, I'm not a graphic designer and I'm not entirely happy with how it looks, but I tried my hardest to make it look good. And I think spending a bit of time doing that, I think, is definitely useful.
Yeah, I think it really shows. There's a really nice interface and it looks very attractive. So you've definitely done well there. So thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you.